So, good morning, students. Today we will be discussing about three different ecosystems. First one is grassland ecosystem, desert ecosystem, and aquatic ecosystem. In the previous class, we have already discussed about first type of ecosystem, about different type of forest which are available depending on different geographical features as well as climatic features. So next three types of ecosystems are there: grassland, desert, and aquatic ecosystem. So first we will discuss about grassland ecosystem. So generally grassland ecosystem consists of various type of grasses. So is there anyone who has seen this type of grassland or different type of grasses? I think all of us have seen different type of grasses like um, you might find some different type of grass in your region, like most of you belong to Bihar, so their different scenario will be there. Um, in the on the other hand, you will find that in Rajasthan, say like in the Jaipur area, you will see different type of grasses. So it depends on various parameters or various factors. So, grassland cover areas where rainfall is usually low or the soil depth and quality is poor. Many of the grasses and other small herbs become dry, and the part above the ground dies during the summer month. A variety of grasses, herbs, and several species of insect, birds, and mammals have evolved so that they are adapted to these wide open grass covered area. These animals are able to live in conditions where food is plentiful after the rains so that they can store this as fat that they use during the dry period when there is very little to eat. Man began to use these grasslands as pasture to feed their livestock when he began to domesticate animals and became a pastoralist in ancient time. So, this is the entire story of a grassland ecosystem. जनरली ग्रासलैंड रेनफॉल जहाँ पे होता है या कम रेनफॉल होता है वहाँ पे जनरली ग्रासलैंड जैसा इकोसिस्टम मिलता है ऑब्वियसली। और जहाँ पे पानी होगा वहीं पे वेजिटेशन या ग्रास ग्रो करेगा। तो फर्स्ट लाइन सेज दैट कि यूजुअली इन इन रेनफॉल और लो रेनफॉल एरिया ग्रासलैंड कवर्स आर सीन, और इन सच एरिया वेयर सॉइल डेप्थ एंड क्वालिटी इज पुअर, जहाँ पे कि सॉइल डेप्थ कम है और सॉइल की क्वालिटी पुअर है, उस एरिया में हमें ग्रासलैंड देखने को मिलता है। और जनरली मेनी ऑफ द ग्रासेस एंड अदर स्मॉल हर्ब्स दे बिकम ड्राई during the dry period, or say like in the months of summer when there is no rainfall, they generally all the grasses dry. So this is not a very new thing. हम सब लोगों ने इसको ऑब्जर्व किया होगा कि जिस टाइम पे गर्मी के मौसम में व्हेन देयर इज लिटिल रेनफॉल और ऑलमोस्ट नो रेनफॉल, दैट टाइम सारी घास जो है वो सूख जाती है, हमें हरी घास देखने को नहीं मिलता है। सो इन दिस टाइप ऑफ इकोसिस्टम various different species, a various variety of grass, variety of herbs, different type of or species of insects, birds, animals are seen, and they adopt this wide open grass covered area. How they adopt? They make their life or they adopt the situation which is in this type of area. Like some of the animals or some of the birds, you will see that they collect the food items and store it uh, in the growing season. They store it for the dry period when there is very little to eat. Similarly, man began to use this grassland for feeding their livestock. Man began to use this grassland for feeding their livestock. हम लोगों ने रूरल एरिया में देख रखा है कि बहुत बार बहुत सारे लोग जो जानवर पालते हैं वो अपने जानवर को घास चराने के लिए खुले एरिया में या ग्रास लैंड में लेके जाते हैं। सो दिस बिगैन इन द एंशियंट टाइम्स, जब ह्यूमन बीइंग्स ने या मानव ने जानवरों को डोमेस्टिकेट करना शुरू किया. सो सिंस एंशियंट टाइम्स human beings began to utilize this type of grassland for feeding their livestock. Talking about type of grassland ecosystem, we see that there are generally three type of grassland ecosystem. First one is terai grassland, second is semi-arid, and third one is shola grassland. So we'll discuss in depth about this type of different type of grassland ecosystem. So first one is terai grassland. This consists of patches of tall grasslands interspread with a saw forest ecosystem. The patches of tall elephant grass, which grows to a height of about 5 meters, are located in the low-lying waterlogged area. This ecosystem extends as a belt south of the Himalayan foothills. So ऐसा इकोसिस्टम, ऐसा ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम जिसमें कि जनरली टॉल एलिफेंट ग्रासेस होता है, वो हमें देखने को मिलता है साउथ ऑफ द हिमालयन फुट हिल्स. हिमालयन रीजन में साउथ सदर्न बेल्ट में हमें देखने के लिए मिलता है. जनरली ये घास बहुत बड़ी बड़ी होती है, से लाइक इट ग्रोस अप टू द हाइट ऑफ 5 meters. और ऐसी घास जनरली हमें देखने के लिए मिलती है टेराई ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम में, जो कि जनरली हमें हिमालयन फुटहिल्स में देखने के लिए मिलता है. नेक्स्ट वन इज सेमी एरिड ग्रासलैंड. Am I audible to you? सुनाई दे रहा है
Yes,
क्लियर?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And,
sir.
Yes, sir.
and PPT is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So next one is semi arid grassland. जैसा ये फोटो में है, ऐसा आपको कहाँ देखने के लिए मिलता है?
हम लोग के घर की
मरुस्थलीय
तरफ.
क्षेत्रों में सर.
कहाँ पे, कोई एक बताओ विवेक.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ सर, जहाँ पे कम रेनफॉल होता है वहाँ पे ऐसी घासें दिखने को मिलती है सर. जैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ, याद कर रहा हूँ सर, एक मिनट.
कॉमन है, बहुत सारे जगह पे मिलता है. यू कैन सी दैट दिस टाइप ऑफ एरिया इज कवर्ड बाय ग्रासलैंड ट्रैक्ट्स विद पैच ऑफ थॉर्न फॉरेस्ट. थॉर्न फॉरेस्ट मैंने बताया था कहाँ पे मिलता है देखने के लिए. थॉर्न फॉरेस्ट पिछली क्लास में हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था ना. थॉर्न फॉरेस्ट कांटे वाला जंगल कहाँ देखने को मिलता है?
मरुस्थलीय क्षेत्र में सर.
ओके, सो इट इज सीन इन डेजर्ट टाइप ऑफ इकोसिस्टम, है ना. राजस्थान के बहुत सारे एरिया में हमें ऐसा देखने के लिए मिलता है. So, the scrub lands of the Deccan Plateau are covered with seasonal grasses and herbs on which its fauna is dependent. It is teeming with insect life on which the insectivorous birds feed. तो ऐसे एरिया में बहुत सारे छोटे मोटे कीड़े मकोड़े मिलते हैं, और जब कीड़े रहते हैं उधर, तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट बहुत सारे इंसेक्टिवायरस बर्ड्स भी देखने के लिए मिलता है, जो कि छोटे कीड़ों को खाता है. Next is Shola grassland. So the Shola grassland consists of patches on hill slopes along with the Shola forest on the western Ghats, Nilgiri and Annamalai ranges. This forms a patchwork of grassland on the slopes and forest habitats along the streams and low-lying areas. So ऐसा फॉरेस्ट हमें जनरली वेस्टर्न घाट्स में, नीलगिरी और अनामलाई के रेंजेस में हमें देखने के लिए मिलता है. इसको हम बोलते हैं शोला ग्रासलैंड. So next is uses of grassland. What are different uses of grassland? So grasslands are the grazing areas of many rural communities. जैसा हमने पहले बताया कि ह्यूमन बीइंग्स और ने बहुत एंशियंट टाइम से ही शुरू कर दिया था ग्रासलैंड को यूटिलाइज करना. कैसे? उनको ग्रासलैंड में अपने जानवरों को फीड कराने के लिए. So grassland are the grazing areas for many rural communities even today. Farmers who keep cattle or goat, as well as shepherds who keep sheep, are highly dependent on grassland. जनरली आप देखोगे बहुत सारे farmers जो जिनके पास बकरी, भेड़ और cattle है, they take them for feeding their animals in these different type of grassland. Then fodder is collected and stored to feed cattle when there is no grass left for them to graze in summer. So in dry season, when there is no grass, people used to in the season when there is proper grass found in those this type of areas, people farmers used to collect this and store it to feed their animals in the dry season when there is no grass. So grass is also used to make houses and farm sheds. The thorny bushes and branches of few trees that are seen in grassland are used as a major source of fuel wood. So बहुत सारा फॉरेस्ट एरिया से जो थॉर्नी ग्रासलैंड, जो कांटे वाली घास या बड़ी घास रहती है, उसको लोग यूज करते हैं फ्यूल वुड, खाना वगैरह बनाने के लिए. Additionally, these type of grass are also used for making farm shed as well as house. अभी भी लोकल रूरल एरिया में there are many people who don't have their pakka house. They make their house using these all materials. So these are the different uses of grassland. So next is desert ecosystem. So by seeing this image, we can understand how a desert ecosystem looks like. Already you people were here for almost a year. एक साल के लिए you people were here in Jaipur. So you might have little bit idea about how a desert ecosystem looks like. Though this area doesn't exist entirely in a desert ecosystem, but like a light picture can be observed by staying in this type of area and roaming near about the Jaipur district. So, desert and semi-arid lands are highly specialized and sensitive type of ecosystem. They are very sensitive type of ecosystem. Desert and semi-arid areas are located in western India and the Deccan Plateau. There are also cold deserts such as in Ladakh, which are located in the high plateaus of the Himalayas. कोल्ड डेजर्ट भी है, जैसे कि एग्जाम्पल के लिए लद्दाख, जो कि बहुत ही हाई प्लेट्यूज ऑफ हिमालयन में लोकेटेड है. द मोस्ट टिपिकल डेजर्ट लैंडस्केप दैट इज सीन इन राजस्थान इज द थार डेजर्ट. जो थार डेजर्ट है, दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट टिपिकल टाइप ऑफ डेजर्ट लैंडस्केप. So if you really want to have an experience of how a desert ecosystem looks like, if you get time, you can visit the Thar Desert. There are several, say tourist spots are there. You can visit and you can take observation ki how a typical desert type of ecosystem looks like. So two images are there. The difference between two images are, the first one is the hot uh, desert area. Second image is of the cold desert area such as in Ladakh, and first image can be of Rajasthan. So these two images are sufficient enough to make a clear image what is the difference between uh, cold desert ecosystem and a hot desert ecosystem. So what are the different uses of desert ecosystem? These type of ecosystem, desert ecosystem, the area of scanty vegetation with semi-arid scrubland have been used for camel, cattle, and goat grazing in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and for sheep grazing in the different valleys. So you will find that Rajasthan है ये area for camel के लिए, cattle के लिए, and for goat. That's why you see camel आपको राजस्थान में देखने के लिए मिलता है, आपके बिहार में you can't see camel. First, scanty vegetation and other parameters are not suitable for this animal to survive over there. So next is areas that have a little moisture, such as along the water course, have been used for growing crops such as jowar and bajra. The natural grasses and local varieties of crops have adopted to growing at very low moisture levels. These can be used for genetic engineering and developing arid land crops for the future. So this type of area can be utilized for genetic engineering and developing arid land crops in the coming future. So this is the story of a desert ecosystem. Next one is aquatic ecosystem. So by seeing this image, we can clearly understand that what does it means. It consists of several or entire aquatic living beings or entire water-based ecosystem. We can call it aquatic ecosystem. So we know that in aquatic ecosystem there are different type of animals. We can different type of fish, different type of species of different components can be observed or can be found in an aquatic ecosystem. So the aquatic ecosystem constitute the marine environment of the sea and the fresh water systems in lake, river, ponds and wetland. So the sea, lake, river, ponds and wetlands can be called as an aquatic ecosystem. These ecosystems provide human beings with a wealth of natural resource. Aquatic ecosystem से हमें बहुत सारा इकोनॉमिक प्रॉफिट ह्यूमन बीइंग्स को होता है, जैसे कि बहुत सारा प्रोड्यूस आता है जो कि सी से मिलता है, ओशन से मिलता है, लाइक फिश. Apart from fish, we get several more things which are economically beneficial for the community or human beings. Similarly, lake, river, pond can also be utilized for fish farming, and it creates or it helps out in wealth creation for human beings. These provide good that people collect for food, such as fish. In aquatic ecosystem, plants and animals live in water. The special abiotic features are its physical aspects, such as the quality of the water, which includes its clarity, salinity, oxygen content, and rate of flow. So, talking about different type of ecosystem, we have stagnant ecosystem, running water ecosystem, fresh water ecosystem, brackish ecosystem that are more salinity than fresh water but less than sea water. Marine ecosystem based on the salinity levels. So these are the different type of aquatic ecosystem. Stagnant ecosystem मतलब जहाँ पे कि पानी flow नहीं कर रहा है. Stagnant water is there, we call it stagnant ecosystem जहाँ पानी flow नहीं कर रहा है. Second one is running water system. So example of a stagnant ecosystem can be a lake. Lake में pond में पानी flow नहीं करता है, पानी एक जगह रुका रहता है, that can be called as stagnant ecosystem. Whereas second type, that is running water ecosystem, a river can be example of running water ecosystem because water is always flowing, it does not stay at one place. Fresh water ecosystem जहाँ पे कि fresh water है, that can be called as fresh water ecosystem. The water is not saline, fresh water is there. Brackish ecosystem वो ecosystem है जहाँ की more salinity than fresh water but less than sea water. So in sea water we know that there is high rate of salinity. So brackish ecosystem is that ecosystem or that type of aquatic ecosystem where salinity is there but it is less than the sea water. Marine ecosystem that is based on the salinity level. So on a big scale, say like oceans can be example of marine ecosystem, or coastal areas can be example of marine ecosystem. So the pond is the simplest aquatic ecosystem to observe. कोई भी pond है, that is the simplest ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem we can observe it. There are difference in a pond that is temporary and has water only in the monsoon, and a larger tank or lake that is in aquatic ecosystem throughout the year. Many ponds become dry after the rains and over and are covered by terrestrial plants for the rest of year. Uh, there is difference between say like a pond which is artificially created compared to larger tank or a lake. Generally pond में क्या होता है कि monsoon के time में there will be plenty of water, but once there is rainfall stops, gradually the water level decreases and almost it becomes dry in the summer season. Summer season में उस pond में पानी नहीं रहता है, and बहुत सारा टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लांट्स उसमें ग्रो करना शुरू कर देता है फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ द ईयर। वेरएस इन केस ऑफ लेक, लेक में पूरे साल देर इज प्लेंटी ऑफ वाटर एंड देर इज नो टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लांट इन दैट lakes. So that is the difference between pond and a lake. When a pond begins to fill during the rain, it lives it life forms such as the algae and microscopic animals, aquatic insects, snails and worms come out of the floor of the pond where they have remained dormant in the dry phase. Gradually, more complex animals such as crabs, frogs, and fish return to the pond. The vegetation in the water consists of floating weeds and rooted vegetation on the periphery, which grow on the muddy floor underwater and emerges out of the surface of the water. So the entire story of this slide is जो भी पॉन्ड हमारे घर के आसपास में हम लोगों ने देख रखा होगा, जनरली उसमें होता है ऐसा है कि in the rainy season when there is plenty of water, that entire pond is filled with water and aquatic ecosystem is observed in that pond. Aquatic ecosystem means there will be several fish, snail, aquatic insects, frog can be seen in that pond. जैसे ही बारिश रुकता है, ग्रेजुअली द लेवल ऑफ वाटर डिक्रीजेस एंड अ डे कम्स कि सारा पानी सूख जाता है, सारे एक्वेटिक कंपोनेंट्स गायब हो जाते हैं उसमें से, और वहां पे घास और पौधे उगना शुरू हो जाते हैं। कुछ टाइम तक वो रहता है। अगेन व्हेन देयर इज रेनफॉल, पानी भरना शुरू होता है और different aquatic species like crab, frogs, fish return to the pond. So we say that it is say like a complex type of ecosystem, जो कि हमेशा in within a year it takes several changes, or several changes can be observed in a very small piece of land. So that is the story of a pond ecosystem. So I hope all of you must have seen ponds in our nearby area. So if you have not observed it until now, keep this thing in your mind कि how in a single year, within 1 year, how the ecosystem is changing of a pond. Next one is lake ecosystem. So the lake ecosystem functions like a giant permanent pond. So I already said that there is a difference between pond and lake ecosystem. Pond में क्या है कि पूरे साल के लिए पानी नहीं रहता है generally, but in a lake ecosystem, throughout the year it is filled with water. So a large amount of its plant material is the algae, which derives energy from the sun. This is transferred to the microscopic animals which feed on the algae. There are fish that are herbivorous and are dependent on algae and different aquatic weeds. The small animals such as snails are used for food by small carnivorous fish, which in return are eaten by larger carnivorous fish. Some specialized fish such as catfish feed on the detritus on the muddy bed of the lake. So in case of lake ecosystem, that is for entire year it consists of water, and when water is there for entire year, in that lake ecosystem only aquatic components are seen. So next is stream and river ecosystem. So earlier we have discussed pond ecosystem and lake ecosystem. So definitely the lake and pond are the example of stagnant ecosystem, whereas stream and river is running water ecosystem. Pond में और lake में पानी बहता नहीं है, it is stored for entire year or for the duration. But in case of stream and river, नदी और नाले में या streams में थ्रू आउट द ईयर उसमें पानी बहता रहता है, इट इज नॉट स्टैग्नेंट, पानी एक जगह नहीं रुकता है. सो व्हेन देयर इज लाइक डिफरेंट फंक्शन, लाइक पॉन्ड में पानी एक जगह स्थिर रहता है, रिवर में पानी कंटिन्यूअस फ्लोइंग, इट इज नॉट स्टैग्नेंट. डेफिनेटली द कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ इकोसिस्टम विल differ from each other. So we'll discuss about this. Like streams and rivers are flowing water ecosystem in which all the living forms are specially adapted to different rates of flow. यहाँ पे जितने भी species मिलते हैं, they are adapted to different rates of flow. So some plants and animals such as snails and other burrowing animals can withstand the rapid flow of the hill streams. Other species of plants and animals such as water beetles and skaters can live only in the slower moving water. Different species of fish such as mashir go upstream from rivers to hill stream for, for breeding. They need crystal clear water to be able to breed. They lay eggs only in the clear water so that their young can grow successfully. So next one is marine ecosystem. So a simple example I can give here is like in the pond you see smaller size of fish, whereas in the lake you will find little bit more big size of fish compared to pond. When you come to a river water source, you will see much more bigger size of fish and several other aquatic components. जब हम मरीन इकोसिस्टम ओशन में आएंगे तो वहां पे हमें बहुत ही ज्यादा बड़े कंपोनेंट्स दिखेंगे जैसे कि वेल फिश और देन सम अदर टाइप ऑफ अदर फिश आर देयर सो दैट इज द मेन डिफरेंस बिटवीन डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ एक्वेटिक इकोसिस्टम पॉन्ड पॉन्ड में बहुत छोटे छोटे कंपोनेंट्स और से लाइक लिविंग कंपोनेंट्स हैं उससे बड़े लेक में मिलेंगे लेक से थोड़े बड़े रिवर में मिलेंगे और सबसे ज्यादा बड़े कंपोनेंट्स हमें मरीन इकोसिस्टम या ओशन में मिलेंगे सो द इंडियन ओशन द अरेबियन सी एंड द बे ऑफ बंगाल constitute the marine ecosystem around Indian region. In the coastal area, the sea is shallow, while further away it is deep. Both these are different ecosystem. Shallow water में अलग ecosystem रहेगा, deep water में अलग type of ecosystem देखने को मिलता है. So the producers in this ecosystem vary from microscopic algae to large seaweed. So ऐसे इकोसिस्टम में बहुत ही छोटे माइक्रोस्कोपिक भी कंपोनेंट देखने के लिए मिलेंगे और बहुत बड़े भी कंपोनेंट्स देखने के लिए मिलते हैं. There are millions of zooplanktons and a large variety of invertebrates on which live fish, turtles and marine mammals.
तो टर्टल्स क्या बोला जाता है इसमें?
Turtles मतलब कछुआ. Okay. So next one is the seashore ecosystem. Beaches can be sandy, rocky, shell covered or muddy. हम सारे लोगों ने बीच देख रखा है इधर लाइव और इन सेवरल मूवीज वी कैन सी कि बीच कैसा दिखता है. जनरली बीच जो हमें देखने को मिलता है दैट लुक्स समवट सैंडी. बालू बहुत सारा, रॉकी पत्थर बहुत सारे रहते हैं, शेल कवर बहुत सारे रहते हैं एंड इट इज समवट मडी. On each of these different types, there are several specific species which have evolved to occupy a separate habitat. In different type of beaches पे या yes, in different type of beaches we will see different type of habitat. Like अगर sandy beach है वहां पे दूसरे different type of habitat fish and different components will be seen. Whereas अगर रॉकी टाइप का बीच है वहां पे हमें दूसरे सेपरेट टाइप ऑफ हैबिटेट देखने को मिलेंगे. शेल कवर्ड या फिर मडी अगर बीच है वहां पे हमें डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ हैबिटेट देखने को मिलते हैं. सो देर आर डिफरेंट क्रस्टेशिया सच एज क्रैब्स दैट मेक होल्स इन द सैंड. Various shore birds feed on their prey by probing into the sand or mud on the seashore. तो बहुत ऐसे हमें चिड़िया देखने को मिलेंगे जो कि सी शोर इकोसिस्टम में या बीचेस के आसपास में रहते हैं जो कि हैबिचुअल हो चुके हैं and they have adopted the situation which is available in that local area. So these are the different type of ecosystems. So I think this one is the last slide.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
हाँ
सब कोई भी होगा क्या?
आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही सर आपकी.
now it is completed. अभी आ रही है आवाज?
यस सर.
यस सर.
ओके अगर
मैं आज क्विज भी होगा क्या सर?
quiz is uploaded. You can uh, attempt the quiz.
सर मार्क्स कैसे पता चलेगा सर, मिड डाउन कैसे?
So today we are going to discuss the second topic of environmental studies and disaster management, that is natural resources, renewable and non-renewable resources. So this term renewable and non-renewable uh, comes to our mind, comes in various subjects many times, several times. So we all, most probably, we all know about what is renewable and what are non-renewable resources. So we'll discuss in depth about this. Our environment provides us with a variety of goods and services that are necessary for our day-to-day lives. These natural resources include air, water, soil, minerals, along with the climate and solar energy, which form the non-living or abiotic part of nature. The biotic or living parts of nature consist of plants and animals. That also includes microbes. So, coming to the natural resources, any material which can be transformed in a way that it becomes more valuable and useful can be termed as a resource, or a resource is anything needed by an organism or a group of organisms. So, anything which we need, which is needed by human beings or an organism or a group of organism, can be termed as a resource. Thus, only part of our natural environment such as land, water, air, minerals, forest, rangeland, wildlife, fish, or even human population that man can utilize to promote his welfare can be called as natural resource. So all the natural components which are present in the environment and that can be utilized, even the human population that can be utilized for doing some activities. So these all things combinedly, uh, which we can utilize for our welfare, can be called as natural resource. So in the case of humans, a resource is any form of energy of matter essential for the fulfillment of physiological, socio-economical and cultural needs, both at the individual level and that of the community. The sum of all physical, chemical, biological, and social factors which compose the surroundings of man is referred as environment, and each element of these surroundings constitutes a resource on which the man draws in order to develop a better life. So, these are the different factors which compose the surrounding of man, and combinedly it is referred as environment. And each components of the environment, or say like each component of these surroundings, they form a resource on which man relies for several activities or to developing a better life. So talking about ecological variables, basically five ecological variables are there: energy, matter, space, time, and diversity. And these combinedly sometimes are called as natural resources. So, starting from solar energy, the available oil, fish resource, tree or forest resource, water resources, timber, which are obtained from forest resources, metals, animals, oxygen, fossil fuels, atmosphere, natural gas, various minerals, flowers, crops, plants, oceans, energy, different forms of energy, birds, coal, soil. This all can be examples of natural resources. These all are found in different at different locations in different form of species, in different form of quantity, quality, etc., etc. So, moving to the next. From these slides, we can see the different, say, like different resources. Like from the first image, it is water resource. Um, from this resource, we get several food items. We get several outcomes or outputs which we consume. Similarly, from this water resource, the water we directly consume, the water we can use for generating energy, for recreational work, as well as several other advantages of or outcome of this resource or products of this water resource we utilize. The human beings are utilizing not only from now but from ancient time. So next one is wind energy. So by installation of windmill, we can harvest the energy which is generated from wind. And nowadays it is very commonly used in several countries at several places to consume to harvest the wind energy, and you store that energy and to utilize whenever there is requirement of energy. So this is a kind of, say, like alternate energy source which does not require any fossil fuel, and this is a green energy source. Similarly, a solar resource, say like power of sun or solar harvesting, these can be utilized for generation of energy. Then mining, from this image we can see that mining is being done. So fossil fuel is extracted through the process of mining, and that fossil fuel is used to generate energy, which is required by several industries, several machineries, etc. Then the last image is for drilling, for extraction of oil. So the oil is nowadays the, say, like one of the majorly used fuel, which is highly required nowadays. So these all different types of energy or source of energy are available in the environment near our surroundings, and from several years or from centuries, human beings are harvesting these all energies and they are utilizing for completing their activities, or in another word we can say they are utilizing these resources for developing their life in much better way. So the resources are limited and can be categorized in two parts. Either it is renewable or non-renewable resources. So renewable and non-renewable resources are categorization of resources. Under renewable resources, solar energy, air, wind, water, tides, flowing, soil, plants. Under non-renewable, fossil fuel, oil, coal, natural gas, metallic minerals, iron, copper, aluminum, and non-metallic minerals like salt, phosphates, etc. are uh, considered. So this is the classification of renewable and non-renewable. Um, Talking about classification of renewable and non-renewable energy sources, the classification depends on several factors. It depends on the aspect on which aspect we are classifying. If it is on the economic aspect, slight change will be there. Whereas when we consider the aspect of environment, there will be slightly change than the economic type of classification. But a commonly used classification of renewable and non-renewable is given on this slide. Few more images are given of renewable and non-renewable, like solar energy, water, wind energy are renewable resources. Once we harvest and utilize that energy, again it is available for harvesting and utilizing. Whereas under non-renewable resources such as phosphate, oil, limestone, once we extract it, say like limestone or phosphate or coal, once we extract it, that place is empty. It will be never reclaimed, or from the same place we can never uh, again go for mining or extraction of the same material. It is emptied now. So for that reason it is considered as non-renewable. Means once we utilize, it is not going to renew again. Similar case is for oil. If we are drilling and extracting oil from the wells, it is again never going to be renewed. That wells will never be refilled. Even though when in case of few oil wells which are say like renewed, the process is very slow. So basically what happens in oil industry is they wherever the oil is suspected to be found, they drill it. If they find it, they extract whole crude oil, and they leave that well empty and they move to further place. So these all are the resources which can be considered as non-renewable resources. So basic differences is like renewable resources, it gets renewed again and again. We continuously for several times we can say like harvest it and we can utilize for several completing several activities or to develop our lifestyle or daily life. Whereas in case of non-renewable resources, once it is extracted or once it is harvested, it doesn't renew. So we will never get the same resource at same point or same place. So this is the basic difference between renewable and non-renewable resources. So there are further classification of natural resources. Classifications are based on several factors. The first one is on the basis of quantity. So on the basis of quantity, first one is inexhaustible, that is more in quantity, abundance in quantity. So it is unlimited or non-ending or unending type of material or resource. Both qualitative and quantitative degradation. Examples can be hydroelectric power, wave and tidal power, wind power, energy sources, water resources. So, say like wind power, then water resources, wave and tidal power, they are abundance in the quantity. It will never end. Something which will never end. Continuously, we can harvest energy from all those resources. Second one is exhaustible type, which is very less in quantity, also it is limited, then quality may be degraded, not quantity. Like examples can be fossil fuel, natural gas, minerals, iron, copper and aluminum. So once these type of natural resources are harvested or extracted, it is never going to be renewed. It is at the end or almost stopped. So due to this reason, it is considered under exhaustible type of natural resource classified on the basis of quantity. So coming to the next slide, that is second classification on the basis of mutability. So renewable and non-renewable resource are two classifications on the basis of mutability. The first one is renewable, that is perpetual harvest, say like human power, fertility of soil. It can be renewable. It can be refilled again. It can be replenished. It can be regenerated. Whereas non-renewable resource, there is no replacement, like a species of wildlife. Once it is ended, it will never come again. So this can be called as non-renewable resources. The last classification is based on continual utility. So there are three classifications: renewable, non-renewable, and cyclic resources. So these are different classifications of resources, natural resources. Basically, this classification is through the aspect of environment or environmental science. When we talk in different aspects, we are going to come across several more different type of classifications. So I suggest the students not to be confused. These classifications are basically based on the what aspect we are talking about. Environmental aspect will have some different classification. Economic aspect will have some different classification. Furthermore, depending on the need, there will be several more different classifications you can find at different places. So that's it for today's lecture.